India has a long-term plan to build up the semiconductor business in your country. Why and what are you thinking?
Three things. First is electronics manufacturing, which was practically negligible 10 years back, is today a significantly large industry. $87 billion. This iPhone 14 that you see is made in India. Its supply chain is shifting to the country. Sector after sector, we are getting from import substitution to export-led growth. So telecom equipment, 3 years from now, India will be a large telecom equipment exporter. All the pieces are well set. Development is very good. A couple of companies have already started exporting to countries like US. So a very large market which requires semiconductor as the basic raw material, item one. Item two, a very competitive talent pool, good talent pool, about 52,000 semiconductor engineers working in the country. And almost all of them are working from legacy nodes to the cutting edge to the SoC, getting the absolutely new optimization in power consumption, all kind of stuff. The latest and really some of the leading edge technologies our people are working, our talent is working. That as the second factor. Third factor, our university system, which is producing about 500,000 engineers every year. We have tailored our project, our entire plan to make sure that this university system generates a significantly large number of talent, and we have committed to develop 85,000 talent over the next 10 years. And within the 1 year of our announcement of our policy, we announced the policy on 1st January of 2022. By now, we have already tied up with 60 universities. We have changed the course curriculum. So all these factors together make it very natural that India should be the destination for semiconductor.
And how about financing? How much money is the government putting behind this effort?
Government is putting $10 billion. That is just the first. Thank friends like Pat who are guiding us in this journey. And we have listened to the industry. When we announced the scheme on 1st Jan 2022, Pat and many others gave us the inputs that the demand for higher nodes, which go into electric vehicles in Volvo, in the train sets, in practically all the telecom equipment, in power electronics, all those sectors require nodes which are higher nodes. So we changed our policy in October, opened it up further. So very flexible.
No one has said, no one in the Indian government has said, hey, wait a minute, why are we investing these billions of dollars in the middle of a glut?
As Pat very clearly said, this kind of ups and downs have been seen in this industry for quite some time. As Volvo, 4,000 semiconductors in a truck, in an EV. In a train set, that number is close to 12,000. And in train set, we are right on track to become a major exporter in the coming 3 years. So the demand is going to be huge.
You're not worried about that. You have no doubt about
absolutely
the demand.
Add one more point here. It took 60 years for the semiconductor industry to grow to $550, $600 billion. It's going to be $1 trillion in next 6 years. So that's the kind of growth which is happening in this industry.
It's going to double in 6 years.
Yeah.
By the end of 2030, 1 trillion we cross is the expectation of most analysts at this point.
So there's enough for everybody.
Are you confident? Well, Netherlands is small.
Well, we do need a lot of chips.
So another piece would be green manufacturing. Semiconductor manufacturing will become, will also be affected by the green discourse we have everywhere. So we in India are very clear that whatever new plants, new fabs that we set up will be served with green energy, will be serviced by green energy. We already have 42% of our energy from green sources, from renewable sources, and we do want to add that advantage to the semiconductor manufacturing also. We have actually addressed that in our policy. That's a very valid point. Close to half the total demand is from the mature nodes. So it is really come to play, as Pat said. For example, in a car, if there are like 200 chips going in, wouldn't it be more economical to design a system which has probably 3 or 4 chips, which is able to make sure that the glass goes up and down on time, make sure that the speed governor is properly in place. So that kind of innovation is also going to come, Pat, if you would like to add on.
Fully agreed.
And that is where new kind of innovations which come. For example, I wouldn't be surprised if in 3 years from now, we see a car operating system, automobile operating system, which basically makes sure that all the chips manufactured by different people for different functions, they are basically able to speak to each other in a very seamless way. So those kind of innovations are also part of the semiconductor.
We're doing that.
Ashwin.
I think trusted long-term partnerships would be a very important factor in success going forward. In terms of supply chain resilience, in terms of innovations in products that we bring in terms of what do you do when things go wrong in some part of the world, can you really rely? So in those things, in all those matters, trusted long-term agreements would be very, very critical.
I think collaboration is the theme of this year's Davos. You got it right this time.